quick little thing here.
Oh, I've spilled my drink.
No,
What am I doing?
really good. Hi, this is laugh my butt off. Let me get some composure here.
Mess.
Gosh, no good, no good. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Tim Sedano. This is Paranormal Insight, and today we have the Fantastic Five with us. That is JJ Rose, Cat Ward, Tommy Cullum, and Erick Szilagyi. Hey, I said it right.
You did.
And yours truly, Tim Sedano. So, we're going to talk about a few fun things, mostly threads we're seeing in our respective shows and fields of study and interest. So, since Tommy's got the UFO stuff, and we started gelling on that before we started rolling, Tommy, I'm going to let you take it away.
Yes, I've been doing a lot of episodes recently with abductees. And I've had quite a lot of people reach out to say they've experienced similar stuff. And when someone messages me something like that, straight away, I'm like, do you want to come on the show? And sometimes they don't want to. They're just putting it out there that they've had that experience. And I think people are quite happy when they hear a similar story to what they've experienced. That's what I'm getting from it. So I find that interesting that people are reaching out and don't particularly want their story out, their name out there or their story, but they're acknowledging that they've experienced that.
And your last few shows have been about UFOs, correct?
Recently, yeah, I've done a lot of UFO stuff. So, yeah.
And now, are you dealing with? Forgive me, I haven't had an opportunity to really
That's
listen to all
okay,
of them. You're dealing with abductees. I recall that part. Are you dealing with UFO sightings as well? And
Yeah.
as far as, okay, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, abductees. Yeah, sightings. There's been a lot of, I try and cover everything paranormal, but it does seem recently there's been a lot of, I've had a lot of UFO guests on talking about UFO experiences, and it's interesting. It's something that fascinates me. I've had my own experiences. I've seen stuff out there that I can't explain. But I do find it interesting when people get in touch to say they've experienced similar to what they're hearing the guests talk about. And I'm straight away, I'm like, you want to come on the show and share your experiences? And a lot of the time they don't want to, which is fine. It's absolutely fine. But
That's great. But still, providing that validation is always nice.
Yeah.
Now, your wife and your daughter had an experience. Why don't you tell us about that?
About two or 3 weeks ago now, they came in from school very excited. And I thought that was winding me up at first. My wife has seen stuff like that before, and the kids, to be honest, as well. But they came in and they're, Dad, we've seen a UFO. We said, I'm like, okay, cool, yeah. Tell me about it. And they described it as a white triangular shape, moving very slow with red lights underneath. And I said, well, are you sure this wasn't a plane? Are you sure it wasn't something? And they're adamant that they don't know what it was. The interesting thing is my wife took her iPhone out and tried to record it, and it wouldn't let her record for some reason. Her phone's fine. She's recorded since. So for whatever reason, she couldn't record it. My daughter's got a Samsung phone. She tried to record it. It wouldn't work on hers either. So very strange. So I was a bit, are you sure? Are you just trying to excite me now? But they're adamant that that's what they saw. And that was, yeah, 2 weeks ago.
Now, given what's the time frame of the others you've interviewed recently regarding UFOs?
Oh, I don't know. It's all gone into one big since Christmas. I couldn't tell you.
Okay. So, did it happen to them the week before, or did this happen years ago for your guests?
So no. I've spoken to guests recently that have had recent experiences. Some of the guests, it's a lot of them, it's experiences that they've had throughout their life. Like they've been abducted from childhood to adulthood. So it's a lot of them that they've experienced this throughout their life. So, yeah.
Gotcha. And you said it was a triangle, and we were talking just before we went on the air. That I remarked it looked like I'm reminded of the triangles taken on the Navy ship that Jeremy Corbell reported on, and Eric corrected me. He says, no, those were pyramidal. And I I think you're right. That's the word, Eric, pyramidal. And you were about to say something, Eric. I said, hey, we should record this. So why don't you continue with that thought?
Well, you know, the video that you're talking about, it was done in night vision, and
Yeah.
it looked to appear to be several pyramidal shapes above one of the warships. And the government, for whatever reason, why is the government coming out and saying, yeah, this and this is real, but nope, this was drones. And that's, for that video, that's what they're saying, that those were some kind of drones that were
They
being
landed
used.
on drones. I thought they were still undecided on it. That's interesting.
I mean, they may have changed. They probably have changed their story, but at the time when that video came out, it was UFOs for a couple of days, and then it was
Gotcha.
like, nope, these are drones. But I think what Tommy's talking about sounds more like the TRB-3, which is a black triangle that basically hovers flat and is only so high. Like, I think some people have estimated like 23 or 24 feet high from the bottom, the sidewalls of it, before you get to the top. And there's a ton of videos out there with the triangular shape. And I mean, as recently as my my episode with Christina Rake, maybe a month ago, like, towards the end, she drops this bomb on me that when she lived out on the East Coast and was coming back from a friend's house to where she lived, she passed down a dirt road and basically saw a black triangle hovering over a farmhouse, and literally saw a light that was projecting from the bottom of this triangle to the house. And I'm like, all this stuff that we've talked about in the past, how did you just decide to sit on this and never bring this up? And she's like, I'm, demons and stuff like that, I'm perfectly comfortable because I know I can kick their ass. But she's like, this, I have no idea.
Wow.
And she's like, I
Oh,
compartmentalize it. And the more we kept talking, she starts telling me about these several episodes of missing time that she had as a younger.
Really? Wow.
Yes. Like one was an extended period of time, like 6 or 7 hours, that people went out
wow.
looking for her, and she was with somebody else, and they were not able to find him. And then
That's
they come home
incredible.
and they're like, where the hell have you been? And she's like, what do you mean? I went for a hike. And they're like, you weren't anywhere where we were looking for you. So
That's crazy.
yeah.
That's insane.
So, and then she's messaged me since saying, hey, thanks for having me bring all this stuff up again, because now I'm having more memories of things that happened that we'll have to talk about again. So,
Oh, well, yeah, got more stories for you.
yeah.
I hope she's not too traumatized by it. Wow.
She doesn't seem to be at all. In fact, she seems like she has done an incredible job of compartmentalizing all of those experiences.
Good. Good for her. I'm glad she's doing okay. So, Tommy, for you was UFOs and that type of thing. If Well, I kind of have a touch on I touch on UFOs too in my stuff. I don't know if you want me to go next or if someone else has a better tie into Tommy's UFO stuff. Or Tommy, are you even done with UFO stuff?
No, I'm not done, man. That's for
Okay,
sure.
keep going.
Oh, sorry. I don't know where it's going to go in the
Oh, I
future,
see.
because you go down this rabbit hole with the UFOs.
Yeah.
There's so much to it, man. There seems to be so many different types. You know, is it secret government technology? Is it, I mean, you know, the possibilities are endless, but I find it fascinating.
Yeah, it's very interesting. The whole subject's interesting. I mean, excuse me.
For the majority of my life, as far as UFOs are concerned, I was firmly in the lap of belief, but I always thought that they were definitely from somewhere else.
Oh, his camera
Yeah.
cut out. Did you go offline?
At first, I thought I lost internet, but then no,
Nope.
looks like he's gone. Oh, he's not allowed. Guess he's not supposed to talk about it.
Well, it looks like Erick's camera's booting up. Power went out. Power went out on Erick's line. No worries, I'll tell him. Poor guy. So we lost Erick. We're down to 4 of the Fantastic Five.
Is it just his house, or is it everywhere else?
I don't know that part of it.
I'm asking him if they're having a storm or what, but I think it's more than just his house was my feeling.
Yeah. Okay.
Hope everything's okay over there.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Could you, yeah, if you wouldn't mind further inquiring on our behalf, JJ.
Already on it. So Erick's power went out. He said there's a slight storm, but like yesterday was way worse. And he's like, honestly, like there's no justifiable cause as to why my power went out. And I'm like, kind of interesting that it went out, you know.
Just as he
during
was
that.
talking about the UFO stuff, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
it's
anyway,
so strange, man. I was recording with someone the other day. I was on another show, and my computer just started randomly playing an episode that I'd recorded ages ago. Just started randomly, and I
While
couldn't
you're
stop it.
recording,
While I was recording, and I didn't press anything to start. I wasn't even touching the computer.
what was the
And-
episode?
It was with Al Centuriga, one of
Okay.
his episodes.
The
It
Squatch
just-
Father.
Yeah, the Squatch Father. It just started playing one of his episodes, and I was like, "I'm so sorry," and I couldn't turn it off. And I figured out how to do it in the end, but it went on for like 5 minutes, and I couldn't get it off. It was really weird.
it's like every time Tommy and I record, his
Yeah, I know.
his
There's
devices will
always
start going
something.
off.
Missing time. Missing
Really?
time. Yeah, we
Yeah,
have
Tommy
all
and I had
sorts.
missing time on an episode.
Really?
We
That
have,
was-
yeah,
that
we
was
have no
crazy.
clue what happened.
Yeah, that still baffles me now.
We only recorded an hour and 15 minutes, and yet we were on together for what, almost like 3 hours, right? Because you were
Yeah.
like, hey, like I gotta go to bed.
Because we
Oh,
would have
man.
got the 2-hour mark.
And I
For
had
sure.
timed it because when we chit-chatted in the beginning, it was 15 minutes max. Because I
Yeah,
was
it
like,
wasn't
okay,
long.
we caught up.
Wow.
Like we did most of that via message before, kind of chat a little bit, and then went right into the episode, and we have no freaking clue.
And that's the night I possibly saw a shapeshifter as well.
Oh.
Fox. That was the same night.
Yes, that was
your
that same night.
kitsune.
Yeah. Yeah. And I
Oh
was just
shit!
so
I had missing time last night.
You did?
Yes. So besides the wonderful missing time I've experienced with a few of you, Tim and I actually had missing time once, and both of us were very confused. But
Yeah. We'll tell that story next.
yeah,
I
that's
feel
the
left
weird.
out. I don't think I've had missing time.
I thought you did
Girl.
when you had your freeway thing.
Yes, yeah, your freeway thing with the thing on the side of the road, Kat.
See?
What was missing time? They wiped my memory.
Yeah.
See, that's what happens.
Anyway,
So,
sorry,
JJ
go ahead. Go ahead, JJ.
Yeah, so I have a ladies healing circle, and we get together every couple months. And so we got together last night, and everyone pretty much left at 9:45. And one of the ladies stayed with a little after, just to kind of chat with myself and my mom. And we know what we were chatting about. We know approximately how much time it would have taken to discuss those 3 subjects. And all of a sudden I look at her and I was like, okay, you need to go home. Like, you're really tired. I can see you're fading, and I want to make sure you get home safe. And she goes, yeah, I can't believe how tired I am. And we look at the clock and it had been 2.5 hours. And yet what we chatted about had maybe taken 45 minutes.
And this was last night.
Yeah. And all three of us were even
Wow.
saying, like, this doesn't make sense. There was no way we were chatting for 2.5 hours. And I know when everyone else left because I had texted one of them, please text me when you get home. So I had like a timestamp. There's, yeah. So yeah, that's been fun.
Wow. Tell me about our time thing.
Oh my God. Okay. So that was such a wild case anyway, but so Tim and I were driving to this case and we were meeting 3 or 4 other cars of people at this location. And so Tim and I deliberately left early in order to, you know, in case there's traffic, whatever, but also because we need to be the first ones there. So as I'm on my way to meet him, there's this huge fire on the freeway that we would normally take to get there. And I'm like, hey, just an FYI. And he's like, okay, we'll bypass it. Bypassed it. My eyes are on the clock because I'm the one on the phone communicating with the other 3, like of when we're going to be there, our ETA. So we hit some traffic. That's typical. Like we knew that.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden we end up taking the exit that the GPS clearly told us to take. And we're driving and Tim and I are talking and we're talking. And then I look at him and I'm like, hey man, like, I know you told me this place is a bit out there, but like the road's about to end.
Yeah.
And he's like, wait, what? And I was like, no, Tim, like there is no more paved road. Like this is gravel. This doesn't look right. Like
Right.
I know this is supposed to be a creepy case, but this is a little too creepy for me. So I'm getting messages from the other people and all of them are delayed. I mean, one person got stuck on like their tire popped and then they had to go all the way back home and get another car. And then the other ones, I have absolutely no clue what happened to them because that made no sense. They were like, oh, we're going out for breakfast. And that was at like 10 o'clock and they didn't arrive until like 3 or so. It was nuts.
Yeah.
So very long breakfast apparently. But so Tim and I look at the GPS because I'm like, I don't understand, like, where are we and how did we get off over here? And we look and we are completely diagonally away, like 90 minutes away from where we were supposed to be. So okay, you know, Tim and I have a joke about like we could both get lost in a paper bag, right? So we kind of laugh about that. Like, okay, I guess we read the GPS, but we had the GPS on the entire time we were driving and it never told us to turn around.
Yeah.
Which is odd. It told us to keep going. So finally, like, I realized this and I'm like, hey, unless this is going to take us like around a mountain to get there, this makes no sense. So we turn around and we drive back. Now, mind you, it's already been like 45 minutes of us driving through the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
We drive back. It took us 15 minutes.
Oh, I thought it was way shorter than that.
Oh, maybe it was 10. It was really
super short.
And I remember you and I even being like, how does this make sense? Like, how did it take us 45 minutes to get where we did and only like 10 minutes back?
And one of the other not fun, but interesting thing is, I don't know if JJ noticed this, but I guess me being the driver, I sure did. Like 4 or 5 turns were not there going up.
Yes.
Remember that? Did I mention that to you?
I do. Yeah, because one of them I remember when we were on the way to nowhere.
And there was a landmark.
Yeah, and there were signs, like these
and there
weird
were signs, yeah.
signs too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And on the way back, none of that was there.
None of it showed up.
And one of the curves I remember because I remember thinking, oh my God, like, thank God you took your foot off the gas because that corner came up really quick and we could have almost gone off the road.
Yeah, we could have been in a ditch. Big bad ditch. But yeah suddenly like 3 or 4 turns are eliminated from our trip. Mm-hmm. We took the exact same road up and back. It was bizarre. Just bizarre.
That whole case
And we
was
got there in
bizarre, by the
like you
way.
said, 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And we still beat everyone.
Which again made absolutely no sense because the people who went to quote unquote breakfast, they were only 15 minutes from the location.
Yeah.
So the fact that they had a 5-hour breakfast doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and the guy that was following us up there, I say loosely, he was maybe 15 minutes behind us initially, and we still beat him there. So something
By, like, a
weird happened,
long-
man.
Yeah. Yeah. And that
So-
whole case was just odd. So
Yeah.
So from now on, whenever you guys are going someplace together, you're gonna have to record it. See
Yeah.
what
you know what,
Yeah.
Kat?
What
We'll do a
happened?
video call
Sure.
with you.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, okay.
And if we disappear like Eric did, just
I'm
know
glad he's
we're
okay at
in a time
least, and we
warp.
know what happened.
That was so odd about him, what he was talking about, and all of a sudden, poof, gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm ribbing him. I asked him immediately, did you get abducted?
The tall man says to say no. I have another interview that was with Brett Hand. He's called the Wandering Wizard, and he is phenomenal. And he had a Reiki session that changed his life, and I mean altered his path remarkably. And he also talks about he felt like he elevated. He got to a higher state. And it has been his practice ever since then as the Wandering Wizard of the Woods. He's in Bear Valley, California, and beautiful part of the country, really. And he takes people on hikes and he helps them with their spiritual journey in these little hikes. And JJ experienced one of these hikes. So she could probably tell you a little bit more about that. JJ.
Yeah, the Brett Hand, the Wandering Wizard of the Woods. So when I took a little trip down south with one of my friends, it was funny when we had booked where we were going to stay, immediately it popped up with him as, like things to do in the area. And we kind of giggled. I was like, oh, 2 witches on vacation, and immediately it pops up with, go on a wandering visit of the forest with this wizard. And we thought it was funny and totally forgot to book it or look into it. And then it ended up coming up like 2 more times. We were at a store, I saw a little handout, and then we went to the rock shop. And we were having this great conversation with the girl about these weird things that I kept seeing. And she told us, oh, you got to call him. So we booked an appointment and he took us up to the rock, which is called the Eye of God. And absolutely beautiful. It's this giant, like 25 feet across quartz, just like this giant rock, kind of in the middle of nowhere. A very sacred space, very, very lovely. And I got to chat with him a lot. He's just such a wonderful person. And he really aligns with what I believe in is just, helping other people, doing well, following what spirit's telling you to do, and hopefully make a difference. Every little person you run across, right? And so I brought him on my show, and Tim was lovely enough to bring him on his. He is just a fount of information. He's had these amazing experiences. He did Reiki on myself and my best witch, and we both had just these profound experiences. That was another missing time. Her and I got done with the Reiki sessions, went back to where we were staying, and we decided to do a guided meditation together. It's a 1-hour meditation, right? So we literally sat in our chairs in front of the fireplace and we pressed play at the same time. So worst case scenario, we should have ended maybe like a minute apart, right? If we hit the button too late.
Gotcha.
Tell me why a 1-hour meditation turned into 3 hours.
Wow.
lot of weird
Interesting.
missing time stuff happening. But
Mhm.
you know, I do truly believe that when that happens, it's, you know, spirit doing a little update, if you will. Doesn't
Yeah.
necessarily mean you've been abducted. It just means that time works differently
Yeah.
when different entities are getting involved. And you know, Tommy kind of harkened back to some of the UFO stuff, and you as well, Tim. Although I'm not having the necessary like UFO stuff that you guys are with people coming to me, I just finished this 3-part series that I've been working on for kind of an advanced episode. And a lot of it is talking about that we coexist with other entities. They're just not on the same frequency or plane as us, whether you want to call that extra dimensional or they're from a higher or different dimension. But when I mean, I read like over 13 books, listened to like 400 hours of stuff. I mean, I did a lot of research for this. And I mean, I can find stories going back to BC times that people are reporting missing time. People are reporting, you know, interactions with beings that are definitely not human. And kind of what you were saying, Tim, of almost like a spiritual consciousness update, if you will,
Mm.
and understanding these things to a point where there were actual books made and published about interacting with them.
Yeah.
And obviously everything has different names, right? So there are some that they were called, you know, elves and the fae, but there are others that they were just called, you know, like the ascended masters. And
Right.
it's so fascinating to see how the names of things have changed over time, but the commonality between all of them, and I know Jacques Vallée has done an amazing job at kind of compiling a lot of those. John Keel did as well. But really looking at the overall arc is that they don't participate in our same linear strand of time, and they're trying to help us. And sometimes the ways that they do it seem really weird or screwballish, right, to us. But when you look at what it is they're trying to convey and the end result, it's usually always for the positive. The thing is really to take a step back and look, because, you know, recently I had a experience, and I'm not going to go into all of it because it'll take way too long, and that's a whole different day. But I had an experience recently where, you know, at the beginning you could look at it and be like, holy moly, like that was a big bad boy, right? And then I was kind of urged to go deeper into and talk to it and ask it out of respect, why did you show up? Why did you come to me? Why did you show up and show me what you did? And when I did, it was very interesting because it wasn't a scary experience. There was a mutual respect. And when I kind of saw what it was showing me, although I didn't fully understand it at the time, there was no avarice or malice there.
Yeah.
It was very much like, I'm showing you this, and yes, it's confusing to you now, but you will understand. And there's a reason why we showed up to you. And as I've gotten further from that experience and I've kind of seen where it's taken me and what's happening with other people, right? Because that's one of the great things that I do is I'm really able to kind of keep a pulse on what's happening with different people just because I talk to so many and I look at stuff. And seeing this large theme that, like, yes, there are forces that are kind of in the death throes of holding on, trying to keep us in this really negative state.
Mhm.
But there are a ton of deities, entities, whatever you want to call them, that are also trying to move us into a new way of being that's better for everyone. But, you know,
Yeah.
with any major change, it's going to go out fighting, right? The old
Right.
ways
Yeah,
go out
for
fighting.
sure.
Good point.
Yeah.
Good way to put it. Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
seeing a lot more people post on social media asking for light workers to just send not just light to our planet, but send it out into the universe, out into the galaxy. And it's
Yes.
just more and more people are just doing that, and it's just, you know, just asking for the light workers to band together to do this.
That also ties, that's interesting you mentioned that. I did a Thanksgiving special episode with my friend Charlene Clossy, and not a lot of people saw it, but I'm going to repost it actually because I think it deserves to be seen. But at one point toward the end of the interview, I asked her, she deals in sonics and sound with bowls and stuff like that, and she's actually going for a doctorate in it, in acoustic engineering or something like that. And I asked her, so what's the signal we all need? What's that resonance we all need right now? And she says, the love resonance, the love signal. It's like, yeah, we all need love. Why not? That's
Yeah.
awesome. And so that jives exactly with what you just said, Kat, and you too, JJ. That's fascinating to me.
Well, it's
Yeah.
true. And I think everyone feels it, whether, you
Mhm.
know, I mean, look at something as small as Elmo goes on Twitter and just says, hey, just checking in on everyone. And the world like imploded. Like
Yeah.
people literally lost their
I didn't
minds.
see that.
Elmo-
That's
I
funny.
No, I didn't.
Oh,
When did
it-
that happen?
that was a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
And
Went right by
you,
me.
you got to look it up because, you know, it's Elmo from Sesame Street, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And he
Broke the
goes on
internet.
Twitter and basically is like, hey guys, just checking in. How's everyone doing? And I mean, I think there were like 7.8 million comments back. I mean,
No.
and probably now there's even more. It took Twitter by storm. Like people were just venting out like the world's ending and
Yeah.
all these personal things that were going on. So
Wow.
it shows that people really do need love right now. They need caring. And
Mhm.
100%.
People are feeling it.
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
are. And I had one situation where I went to two stores. Sorry, I went to three stores, right? I had errands. And the first store, it's like a home goods store, right? So there's two people as clerks. There's a line of like 20 people. Everyone in line's tapping their foot, ticked that it's not moving fast.
Mm.
And I get up to the counter. I've got like 15 people behind me. And the guy at the counter just looks at me and goes, how are you? And I'm like, I'm good. How are you?
Mm.
And he literally doesn't even touch my items to ring them up. He puts both hands down and he goes, I am so happy you're doing well. And I'm looking at him and I'm like, okay.
Is
A
he
little
doing
bit
this
of
with
a
everybody or just you?
no. I had watched him with other people and he was friendly, but he was still doing his job, like, you know, ringing him up, getting him out of there. And so, you know, after a couple more beats, I was like, yeah, thanks. And he's like, no, I'm serious. Like, I'm so happy you're doing well. And I'm kind of like, okay, this
You're,
is
you're
weird.
awesome. Thanks.
Yeah, like cool. So finally he starts ringing my stuff up because I kind of like start handing it to him, like, you know, these people are getting really annoyed behind me. So it's this beautiful goodbye. And I'm like, okay, that was interesting. And just kind of chalk it up to maybe he was just super excited. Someone finally said they were doing well for a change.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I go to the next place. It's like a beauty store for makeup. Girl could not care if I lived, died in front of her. Like she just nothing, you know, what talking to her friends, couldn't give two
Excuse me.
poops if I was even there. Literally shoved the bag at me and didn't even say like thank you or bye or anything, just kept talking. I was like, okay,
Wow.
bye. Like and not that that's normal, but like there's this sense of okay, that was a one-off with the guy in that other store. So then I go to the donut shop. It's this
Not on that
very
diet
nice.
anymore, are you?
No, I went on the donut
Oh.
diet because you know my body is weird, Tim. I literally can eat donuts and I lost weight. I ate 3 donuts and I
Yeah,
lost 6 pounds.
you're confounding.
I know. I'm aware.
In a good way. In a good way.
Yeah, my doctors feel the same way. Trust me. So I just thought, okay, whatever. I'm gonna go to the donut place, just grab myself a couple donuts. I never really do this because honestly, I don't really care for donuts a whole lot, but I wanted to lose a couple pounds. So I walk in and the girl behind the counter, she goes, "Hi, how are you?" And I'm like, "I'm good, how are you?" And she again stops everything, puts her hands on the counter and looks at me and goes, "Oh, I'm so glad you're doing well."
Wow.
My.
I wonder
And
if
I'm
they
like,
confused you with someone else, but
Tim, no,
yeah.
I no. So at
Okay.
this point, I'm like, oh, okay, do you have some regular glaze? Because right, I'm kind
Yeah.
of confused by this. And she goes, "Are you having a good day so far?" And I'm like,
Wow.
"Yes, thank you. How about you?" She goes, "I am really excited for you. Today's Friday. Just really hope you have a good weekend." And at this point, I'm like, what is happening?
Yeah,
And
no kidding.
do you think
So
maybe some entity hijacked these two individuals and really wanted to talk to you and find out and let you know that they're really happy that you're happy?
That's an
I
interesting
love
take.
that you brought that up, Kat, because yes, I've told this story to like a couple other people and they kind of knew what had happened earlier. That was the big old dramatic thing that happened earlier in the week. And they
Yep.
were like, I really think that that was spirit coming through those people to be like, "Hey, we got you. We're watching. Like, are you okay?"
Because
Because I
it's
really
strange,
was
Interesting.
shaken up.
strange wording that they used, and it's
And
like
they
the
Well,
same
used these,
wording.
identical wording almost.
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
And
What
these
are
are
the
two,
odds?
I mean, very different people. Like, one is like a late 20s guy, and the other one is like a late 30s woman, completely different ethnicities, completely different stores. And it's not like they're the owners of the stores or they're being graded on customer service.
Right.
I mean, I
Wow.
didn't even have makeup on. I was like wearing yoga pants and like a torn up sweatshirt. Like I was just there to be in and out. And it's a
Yeah.
donut. You know what I'm saying? Like I spent $3. It's not like it was very
they're
odd.
probably fans of the show. They've probably heard
Yeah,
you.
that's it. They're
Yeah.
fans. That's
Yeah.
perfect.
Tony.
That's awesome.
That's
What
cool
I
though.
what I like to
Yeah.
That's
do at work, like y'all know that I work front desk at a hotel, and so I get a lot of people that are tired from their trips, or they're cranky because they're tired, or they're just going through whatever. So every time I check in a guest, I look at something about them that I like, and I always comment. If it's a guy or a girl, it's like, "Hey, that's a really nice tie." Like, and I'm genuine, I really like it. Or a lady's like, "I love those earrings." And then it just changes the entire mood. And every time they walk by, it's like, "Are you having a good day, Kat?" I'm like, "I'm having an amazing day." Like, how, it's just
Yeah.
amazing how that little bit of positivity just
yeah.
changes
100%.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if
Absolutely.
you work with a group of people and one person is having a really bad day and their energy is bad,
Yeah.
that can affect the whole group. We've all seen it. We've all worked with a lot of people, and you can see that happening. That energy is contagious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
infectious.
Infectious. Yeah. Yeah.
Good way to put
100%.
it.
Yep.
Yeah. So when you put out that positive energy, this is great.
Oh yeah.
And I'm so fortunate that I have such a wonderful team that I work with. We all get along great. We're all different personalities, but our energies are like kind of the same, and we work so well together. And when people come in to check in, they feel that, like we're generally happy, like we love our job. We
Yeah. That's so
Excellent.
actually
cool.
like each other too. Like
That's
there's
great.
one girl that I work with, we're always kibitzing with each other, insulting each other in front of the guests, ha ha, just all in jest, right? And the guests are always like, I love how you guys interact with each other. You like each other, and then we look at each other. It's like we do, But yeah, it's just yeah. Like who knew? But no, I'm so fortunate that everybody brings everybody up, and it works great with all the people coming in too.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
That really
And
is wonderful.
thank you for spreading light because hotels are weird. They're kind of a liminal space, you know,
Yeah.
like some people want to be there, but a lot of people don't.
Yeah.
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 And we get a lot of people coming in because of unfortunate circumstances, you know. Some of them they're working, or they're just passing through, or just, and people always talk to me. I've always had that ability that no matter, I could be at the grocery store, not even looking at somebody, and they come up to me and start telling me their life story, you know, that sort of thing. So yeah, it's just really neat to see all these different people coming in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That happens to me too. People tell me
You
stuff all
too.
the time.
Yeah, yeah.
This is why I'm not allowed to go certain places by myself. The
It's
last
good
time I went
energy.
to the grocery store by myself for what should have taken 15 minutes, I was home an hour and a half later. So,
If I'm with my kids, they'll just get fed up and go to the car. Then I'll either get a couple of texts like "come on" in capitals,
Yeah.
or if that doesn't work, a phone call. Can we go now? It's like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm talking here. Like, wait.
Yeah, 20 more minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're talking paranormal now.
Yeah.
Exactly. New
Yeah.
guest for the
Sorry,
show.
I have a UFO on the camera right now. We'll just see how long that lasts. 2 hours later. Oh man, that's too funny. But yeah, so yeah, raising the adult, raising the human
adult.
consciousness, the adult consciousness. How about becoming adults?
Some adults,
the
I wish they would be adults, but go
well,
ahead.
that's funny, man. You reminded me, in a sense, of this. I don't know if you've noticed it, but I've heard it talked about, and I've noticed it myself personally, that there's this in the younger generations, and maybe we were like this when we were kids too. I don't know, but I don't recall it being that way. But there seems to be this prolonged adolescence, like even after high school, even after college. It's like, oh, a prolonged adolescence, and there's a lot to be said for the socioeconomic situation we find ourselves in across the globe, that it's really hard hitting on younger people. When it comes to putting their lives together, you can't buy a car for anything less than almost what it used to cost to buy a house 30, 40 years
Yeah.
ago,
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I mean, there's some of that, but also I've just noticed with the parenting is different.
yes.
And a lot of it, like, kids now, in order to be in school and potentially get into college, they have to do all these elective things. Like, and I live near schools, so I hear them there on the weekends and early in the morning and late at night. And sometimes I'm going to bed before these kids are going home, and I'm just vastly confused. How are they getting any sleep? And so if they're no longer working jobs while they're in high school, which most of us did, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Then they're not getting that work ethic. And then mom and dad are saying, hey, we're going to bankroll you all the way through college. So they've never really worked. And then they get out of college, and, there's this assumption you're just going to get a job and get paid, $100,000 or more. And
Right.
reality is it doesn't work like that. And then because they've never really quote unquote adulted before, like had a job, had to balance finances and things like of that nature, they don't truly understand it. And then mom and dad do it's almost this weird like guilt parenting that sometimes happens. It's like, oh, well, I had to work when I was young and I regret it, so I'm going to make your life as easy as possible. and
Mm.
and then they kind of give the kid everything, which is super wonderful, but at the same time you're not
Yeah.
raising an adult that
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
You are almost keeping them as a child with this Peter Pan syndrome, where they
Right.
get
Yeah.
to not work and stay home and play video games and
Yeah.
do whatever they want. And I mean, I had a ton of fun as a teenager, but I still worked.
Yeah.
And I
Me
put
too.
myself through college. I worked worked 3.5 jobs and, went to college full time. And, did I sleep? No, I lived off of Starbucks. So, like any
It was
other
7-Eleven
normal
for me and the
Yeah.
Slurpees. Yeah.
yeah, but it was, but I still had a ton of social time
Yeah.
because
Oh.
I weave that social time into those interactions. And so it's very fascinating to me. And it almost makes me wonder, are we going to have a situation where when they become of age to start, in their late 20s and 30s to start taking jobs, what is the workforce going to look like?
Yeah.
Right?
That's a little
Because
concerning.
if you have people who don't have a lot of job history and work ethic the way that the older generations do, does that start breaking down? Is that a good thing long term, where not everything revolves around work and there's more of a work-life balance? Or is it going to lead to, food shortages?
Well,
And
yeah, right.
So
Yeah.
I actually know some younger people, like they get put out and really, really upset if they have to work 8 hours.
yes,
I'm like,
Wow.
I'm
I've run into that
sorry. Like,
too.
I've worked
Wow.
12 hours before,
Mhm.
as a housekeeper, which was brutal.
Yeah.
But it's just like, what do you mean you have to work 8 hours?
Yeah.
How are you supposed to make a living?
Yeah. In
That's
the
like the
film business,
standard.
we have to work 12-hour days when we're in
Yeah.
production.
Ay, yoy.
Oh yeah.
yeah,
That's low end too. Usually it's 16, but
Wow.
12 to 16
Mhm.
hour days.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry,
So
Tommy, I interrupted you.
easy, like JJ was saying, easy is not always good. Like
No,
you
no.
don't challenge yourself if it's easy. You don't. I don't
Don't
think
learn.
you grow. You don't grow. Yeah, you don't learn if it's easy. You need a bit of difficult. You need a bit of hard times. I think. I think everyone needs that a little bit just to
Yeah.
grow. And
And sorry to cut you off. I firmly believe that if you have it a little harder, then you appreciate when you have something good.
yeah,
Exactly.
for sure.
And I've said this multiple times when people are like, why does evil exist? Or why do bad things happen to good people? Because humans don't learn unless it's hard.
Uh-huh.
When things are good and everyone wants to keep the status quo, there's no motivation to change anything if everything's going well. I mean,
Yeah,
think about your own life. If you're feeling good and everything is going well, why would you start like a radical diet or like start a radical new workout or something like that, right?
Mm.
Like if you're happy, you don't change very much. It's
yeah,
when it gets really gnarly, and that's what I would say to people who are looking at the world the way that it is right now. If you're up on news and you see what's happening in the world, instead of saying, oh my God, how horrible everything is, start turning it around and thinking about, this is the catalyst for true change. And that's an uplifting and positive stance, because from there we can start manifesting what it is that we want to see in the world.
yeah,
Agreed. Yeah.
Well
yeah.
said. Yep.
I heard in Germany, I think it was, the farmers, their revolt worked. Is it? Tommy, do you know anything about that?
I'm not sure. I didn't, because with that sort of stuff, they don't seem to put that on the mainstream news.
I didn't hear anything about that.
But I have seen that, and it's more than Germany, isn't it? There's a few
Yeah,
places
Ireland's
that are-
doing it. I thought it was happening
Yeah.
in the UK to one degree or
Yeah.
another too.
I'm not sure. I don't think
And-
so, but I mean, I know it's happening in a lot of places around the world.
Mhm. Oh,
Please
India.
enlighten
It's
me.
happening in India too.
What's going on? Enlighten me, please.
Oh, all these farmers, it kind of started out in Ireland. The farmers were told, and this is kind of gets into the whole climate debate a little bit. For climate reasons, the farmers in Ireland were told they're going to have to kill off something like a third of their herd just because. Not because they were diseased, not because there was anything wrong with them one way or another, but just because they fart too much and are polluting our air. I came up and asked that doesn't happen. Actually, cows are very good, but for our ecology. But I digress. So Ireland, the farmers in Ireland said, no, we're not going to do
Good
that.
for them. Yeah.
So the farmers revolt. They said, listen, no us, no food, and you all starve pretty much. And we're going to prove it to you because we're going on strike. And so they drive their tractors. They go 30 miles an hour, kids, and down the main drive. They go to the capital of Ireland and they block everything off. No food, no transit, no nothing. And I don't know if they actually resolved their issue or not, but the same thing started happening in Germany. Same idea. We're gonna cut your crops in half because we need to build more houses, and I want you to slaughter about half your livestock because of the environment. And the farmers said, that's the most ridiculous. And they revolted. And they went, the German farmers took it a step further. Instead of blocking traffic, because they did do that. I mean, thousands of tractors down the highway. Or down the Autobahn blocking everything. It was insane. They actually got the fertilizer trucks out there and started hosing down the neighborhoods and poop.
Wow.
And then along the freeway where they had blocked things off, they brought their soil with them and started planting a crop.
Wow.
They started planting crops on the freeway. And in Germany, the German council finally said, you got it. We're not going to institute those changes. Forget we ever mentioned it.
We're sorry.
Yeah.
They done it in Holland as well, wasn't it? Was it Holland?
And yeah, Holland and Denmark. Yeah.
Yeah. Didn't they do it in
Am I
Canada
living-
as well?
I thought so.
It happen in-
I know there
Yeah,
was a
I'm
truck
living
strike.
Yeah, there was a truck strike. Yeah. But am I living under a rock? I never heard any of this.
Yeah, it's interesting.
They don't put it on the news. You got to look on
I saw it
Twitter.
on News Nation and a couple other sources.
It's
that was
interesting, Pat, because there's been a couple things that we've brought up in our group chat that you haven't heard of at all.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because I follow a couple I call them rogue journalists. Like they're not with a broadcasting station, but I follow them and they're from Canada and they talk about some things that are happening. And what's interesting is I've heard them say a couple times, you're not going to hear this on the major news.
Yeah.
And then I get it confirmed by you that it isn't being reported on your normal news. So
Crazy,
that's
man.
fascinating.
Yeah, our beloved leader. Yeah.
As you almost throw up.
Yeah. It's a whole different show.
Yeah.
You probably heard about like if I want to post if I see a news article that I read on Google or whatever and I want to share it on Facebook and I hit post, it's going to say sorry, you're not able to share that in your country.
No.
Because our wise government decided that, I can't remember, was it they wanted them to be able to pay extra? I can't remember the whole story, but then they wanted to implement something in Facebook and some other agencies are like, yeah, no, that's not going to happen. We just won't allow you guys to post that in Canada. And we're like, are you freaking kidding me?
Wow.
Yeah. So
Wow,
welcome to
man.
Communist Canada.
Yeah, no kidding.
That is insane. That scares me more than anything.
Yeah.
Even if it's fake news, I don't care. I think you should be able to put anything out because it should be free to put out what you want to put out.
Yeah, the wisdom was something to the effect of trying to keep the fake news out. So if you can't,
So they block everything.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's insane.
Yeah.
We got very political here on Paranormal Insight.
Yeah, I guess so.
Well, we're facing the U. You may have heard about it. The U.S. is
Who knows?
yeah. The U.S. is having some border control issues. Some people say it's not happening. Other people say it is. I've
That in
seen
Texas?
There's Texas, yeah, the Texas thing, but I mean, all the states along the Mexican border are having an explosion of people just coming across the border. And the concern is a lot of these men they're not from South America or Mexico or Central America, most of them. They're from China, they're from the Mid East, and they're all military age. And what they're doing as soon as they hit the border just before, they're dumping their IDs, their picture IDs. And the border patrol's finding them. It's like, oh my gosh, these are Chinese nationals. These are, Arabic nationals, and they're coming in here, and they're not, because we have such a welcoming policy currently, they're being allowed to be processed as refugees. So they get free money, free place to live, and so on and so forth. And there's been like a whole bunch of controversy about it. And it is a concern that the US and possibly Canada and possibly Mexico are going to have a Red Dawn situation. You ever see that movie, Red Dawn?
Oh, yes. Yep.
Yeah, check it. Yeah, Red Dawn, Tommy, if you don't know it.
I've not seen that yet.
Okay. There were two of them made, the one in the 80s and then the one the I guess early aughts.
Yeah.
With Thor, the guy who plays Thor. Chris,
okay.
Chris, what's his name?
Yeah.
That was the second one. The first one was excellent too. But basically because there were all these sleeper cells in the US, when they get the signal, they kind of lash out and are able to set off nukes on both coasts.
Oh man!
Without going intercontinental, they just are able to set off suitcase nukes and pretty much obliterate both coasts. It's just the center of the country, and there's this massive communist military movement that just is suddenly here, and they're fully armed and funded and the whole thing. And the U.S. is pretty much put on their heels, and it's up to a few citizens to form militias and so on and so forth and save the day, or try to. Without giving it away too much in the first movie, we don't see the ending. We don't see the ending of what happened. But I'm just saying it's a story that has far too many similarities to the real world currently.
Yeah, it's a scary thought.
If you've seen movies like that, you just can't help your mind going there. I mean, the only reason why I knew about what was going on with the border was a friend in the States. He goes by Arizona Tramp. He's also an author. I've known him for years. He posted on Facebook one day something about they're angry and at the border. So I messaged him, like, what do you mean? What's going on? So he called me on Messenger and he told me about it. I'm like, no friggin' way. Like, I didn't know anything about it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And he says, yeah, there's like, 30,000 people per day, or was it per month? He said that's going through this one section in the States. And I'm just like, that's
it's insane.
Ridiculous.
Oh, yeah. There's a tiny little shallow part of the Rio. There's crossing right over it.
Yeah, and there was pictures now. I don't know if the pictures are true to what they were saying it is, but the picture is a whole bunch of people. Looks like they're on a road, and there's only a couple of law enforcement vehicles. They can't do anything about it. They're being bombarded with all these people crossing. They can't do anything.
Yeah, that's why there's the battle between the Fed and the state of Texas right now. Because the state of Texas took over. They kicked the Feds out. Said, nope, it's ours. We're taking care of it. And they put up all this razor wire to stop the flow. But it's incredible.
Better armed than the FBI anyways.
Well, don't not necessarily. But the FBI is limited in their ability. Yeah. In fact, it doesn't really fall within their purview, to be honest, border security.
Yeah.
So good times. Wow, we got so political so quick.
I know.
Interesting times, man.
But at least it wasn't like when I had you on my show, Tim, and we just bounced all over the place. Like we finally would hone in and get back to topic, but we just went off on a tangent.
Oh, our tangents were fun on that episode.
Oh, we laughed way too much.
But going back to the paranormal real quick, so you, Tommy, you and me and JJ and maybe even Kat to a degree. Oh, Kat, you know what? We never got to your missing time.
I don't remember the missing time.
Aha!
That's the thing.
That's why it's
I-
missing.
I remember it's when my vehicle was breaking down, right? Is that what you're talking
That's what I'm
about?
thinking of, yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember the missing time.
We have to go back on the chat.
Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah. We have a Fantastic
still be
Five
there.
chat that we
Gotta still be
we
there.
do, yeah.
but yeah, there was a JJ, help me out here because I'm a little fuzzy.
Me?
Yeah.
You?
Yeah,
You
I'm
sound fuzzy?
fuzzy about the recall with Kat's thing because I know she said it was her car broke down and she saw a funny light or something like that. And
Yeah, so Kat was driving, the car broke down in this specific spot. She took some pictures. There were some kind of weird lights that she got on the camera 'cause she just had that weird spidey sense.
Mhm.
Right before the car broke down, though, there was a man on a bicycle who had gone by, sees him, and immediately the car breaks down. Okay, fine. But then a couple days later, the exact same thing happens. She sees the man on the bicycle, car breaks down, exact same spot. Again, takes pictures. There's not really much in the pictures, but her spidey sense goes off. But what was interesting is I don't remember if it was the first or the second time, Kat, but you had called your husband because obviously you were in the car with your daughter and the car broke down. And I don't remember if it was he got there like way faster than he should have or way slower than he should have.
Oh,
And when
slower.
okay. And when he got there, literally the car just turned right back on.
Yeah.
But the third time when it happened, you actually got out of the car and realized that the tire was super low. And all this time, you had never even known that the tire was that low, which potentially saved you all because
That's when my daughter took the car and she was with a
Yes.
friend. Yeah. And she
Oh.
called and said, "How much do you love me?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And she says, "Yeah, the tire is flat." I'm like, "Okay." So my husband gets in the van, goes to check it, and he's looking at it and he's like, and we've driven on the highway because you can either go through town, like where the car used to stall, or we can take the highway to go to the next town, which is like 20, 30 minutes. And sometimes we take the highway, sometimes we go through town. And my husband's like, "I don't know how you didn't have a blowout." The rim was crooked a bit and it was eating into the tire.
Ooh, that's bad.
So we can go 90 kilometers legally on the highway. Sometimes we go a little faster. Everybody does.
Won't tell.
Yeah. But it's like and he's a mechanic with the military. He's like, "I don't know how you didn't have a blowout. I really don't know how." So all those times that we went through on that one spot happened 5 times.
Oh, wow.
5 times at the exact same spot. And after we got the car repaired, we just decided it's cheaper to get it to bring it to the garage, look at it, fix everything instead of buying a new car, because right now it's hard to buy cars, and secondhand cars used to, even after if they're like 2 years old, would be like a lot cheaper than buying a brand new one.
Sure.
Now they're only about $1,000 cheaper than a brand new one.
Wow.
They're stupid expensive. So we thought, okay, we'll bring it to the garage. And the mechanic said, yeah, a lot of people are doing that now. They're just like, fix it.
Yeah.
So after we got the car repaired, it hasn't happened since. We got brand new tires. The car has been repaired. There was a few issues. It's a 2012. And yeah, we have not had that issue since. And every once in a while, I'll drive by that spot and I look in the field and I say, "Thank you very much for saving us." Don't know who you are or what you are, but could you please show yourself to me? I'd like to thank you. Nothing yet, but
And
yeah,
take your picture and do an interview and record it.
Yes. It's just I keep forgetting to bring my FLIR. I keep saying I'm going to bring it with me
Oh,
to
that's a
keep
good
it.
idea. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Maybe I'll just leave it in the car.
There's a good idea. That's another good
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah. Nice.
But your husband was the one who had missing time then. Is that correct?
No, I don't think so.
I thought we had
Oh my
missing
God.
time there. Okay, I guess not.
No.
I was incorrect. My apologies, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, Tommy and I had missing time, but we talked about
Yeah.
that. We had that on
We've
an
had missing time.
episode.
And
Yeah,
I
for
have to
sure.
say, whenever I'm at work, when I work the evening shift, I have you all know that I have to fold laundry as part of the chores that I have to do at work.
Right.
And I listen to a podcast. On more than one occasion, I'd be listening to Tommy's show, and we have a baby monitor. So I can see if there's somebody at the front desk, I can just go to the front instead of them having to ring the bell, because everybody hates that darn bell. So there was the first time it happened, Tommy was talking about a witch. I can't remember what episode it was. And then the baby monitor just went, it was just this
Ooh.
weird, and I remember, you don't remember me telling you that?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I just kind of looked at it like, what the hell?
It's a
And it's like,
visual
okay.
monitor, right?
Yes,
it's
it's a
a
visual-
screen.
Yep.
So it went
and-
warbly. Oh,
yeah, and
interesting.
there's sound too. So I can hear if the phone rings or whatever, although I have the cordless with me. And it happened twice that I'd be listening to Tommy's show, and all of a sudden it looks like a mist goes right past the monitor, and I'm just like, what the heck? Now it's happened twice.
Whoa.
It's happened twice listening to Tommy's show, but it has happened. I'm not listening to anything, and I just kind of see a mist just go through, and it's always from right to left. And
Oh,
it's like,
crazy.
yeah, so like we have the front desk, and then
That's neat.
in my area we have like a little back desk, right? And that's where I have the monitor, so I can see the front door and everything. And yeah, just every once in a while I'm looking at it, you just like right to left, just this white mist, and it's just like, okay.
Well, do you remember when you had the AI and you
Yeah.
caught the two? Was it two girls entities?
Two, yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So
Really?
just for shits and giggles, I was just in the back part, and on TikTok there's a filter where you can take a picture of something that's supposed to show you what ghosts are there. And so yeah, I had two of them pop up, and one of them was kind of like this around, like looking around the like where the doorway is, and the other one was just standing there. And I think I had sent it to you, Tommy, didn't I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a freaky
Oh.
picture.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm like,
You gotta
and
share
I'm
that
like,
picture with me.
Yeah.
I can't find it anymore. If you can find it, Tommy,
I must have
please.
it somewhere. Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
check it. I must have
Okay.
it somewhere.
Oh
Okay,
yeah, I might.
Tommy's ratings are about to go through the roof with paranormal investigators who are literally gonna have like all of these security cams going while they listen to Tommy just to see what they can get on camera.
I'm doing
Uh-huh.
that. And when I listen to this episode,
How many times, Tommy, have you been? It doesn't happen every episode, but all of a sudden, Siri, is it Siri
Oh,
for your
it
phone?
happens
Just
so
Really?
much.
you don't
Yeah.
even say anything in
I know,
particular
it's
to
so
me, and all of a sudden
weird.
she starts talking.
Yeah, it freaks me out every time as well. And it happens a lot, and it's weird. Like,
Yep.
there's no reason for it to happen, and it doesn't happen when I'm not recording. So I don't know if
Yeah.
there's. It never happens when I'm editing, when I'm doing
what did she
anything else.
say?
It just comes up, Siri, and listens to you talk.
Oh,
And
your Siri just pops on.
I mean, I'm even saying Siri now, and it's not coming up. So you know,
Okay.
it just
Sometimes
comes
you
up.
hear her.
Yeah, it's weird.
Like
It
I
is
have a
weird.
Samsung, and every once in a while, like when I'm at work, because sometimes we text each other, like the supervisor, if we have a question or whatever, and I just have it on my desk, and then every once in a while, the Google will come up and say, "I'm sorry, I didn't get that," and I just look
Yeah,
at it, going,
that does
"I
happen to
haven't-
me
I
too.
have not said a word. What's going on?"
So weird. It's so weird.
Yeah.
But there's been a lot of times where I've been talking to guests and they say, okay, I'm about to talk about this, but normally this is where the technology goes wrong. And I'm like, okay. And it does. It's just so weird. It happens so often. And it's like, can't be a coincidence every time.
Wow. Yeah, that's incredible. That's
Someone
interesting.
loses signal or, Siri comes up, something happens.
The
That
power goes
happens
out on Erick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is interesting because a lot of times when I would be talking with him, not recording or anything, we'd just be chatting about something, and his he would have me on like earphones.
Hmm.
He'd be like on earbuds. So my voice is not like on speaker.
Mm.
And his Siri watch or his Siri whatever would literally start going off and like answer. And one day I was telling him something. I was like, hey, I think it was like a dream or something that happened. And it went off and it says, caution ahead. And he's at home. Like he was at home and it was giving him like caution as if he was driving, like caution, there's like something on the freeway ahead. And he was like, what the hell? And I'm like, I don't
That's
know.
weird.
Yeah.
Where's the
Yeah,
steering wheel? Where are
my
you?
Alexa's done it more than a few times. I had one 2 months ago, super scary. Husband was at a band thing, so he was gone for the weekend. And I'm upstairs, I'm in the room, there's nobody in the house. Neighbors aren't even home. Okay. So my house is very quiet. I had the TV on super duper duper low because I like to fall asleep and just kind of read the subtitles till I knock out. And all of a sudden, the Alexa goes, sure, I'll play that, and starts playing this really weird song. And I'm like, I don't recognize it. And I'm waiting for it to actually like start singing. And then I ask it what song it is, and it's this very strange romance song. And I paused the TV and then I rewound to when it happened
Mhm.
and played it again with the volume up, thinking, okay, maybe there was something that triggered that. Nothing.
Mm.
I remember you talking about
Nothing.
that.
I think you did mention that to me. Yeah.
Oh, strange.
And you
That's
mentioned it
happened
on,
to me.
I think you mentioned it on one of your episodes too.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
it's
That's-
happened more than a few times. And then it will sometimes, like, I'll ask it to play a certain song and it will just suddenly start playing this really random music that when you listen to the lyrics, it's a little too spot on and creepy.
Mm. Gotcha.
Speaking of songs, I still have that blasted song in my head. It's been how many months?
What song
Girl,
is
that's
that?
been a long time.
Yeah.
What song is that?
Oh, of course, now it's not in my head. It
Uh,
just
Right.
was.
Oh, shut
Situation
up.
is critical. Situation is critical.
Oh.
Oh, oh, oh,
Yeah.
critical. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Well,
And
it's
what
always that lyric.
and I had that same lyric, but from
Yep.
another song where it would say situations critical.
Yeah.
And Kat asked, and I said, oh, that's kind of weird. I've had this for like a week in my head.
Mm.
And then that thing happens
On the
on the New
bridge.
York Canadian border with the bridge.
Yeah.
And when that happened, it went away from me. And I thought, okay, that was odd, but whatever. But Kat's is prolonged.
I've never
Hmm.
had a song in my head that long. Like
I
I'll
had
wake
this-
up in I'll
Go
wake up
ahead.
in the middle of the night and it's still there.
Oh,
Whoa.
man.
Huh.
I'm slowly going crazy.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that. I don't have a single song on repeat, but it's like I got an old 70s or 80s AM radio going on in my brain because I wake up to a different old song every single day in my head
Oh wow.
for no real reason. Because my alarm plays a song too. It's Beastie Boys, Sure Shot. That's what I wake up to. Because it's just loud enough, a little atone, a little bit, but that it wakes me up. So but I had what was it yesterday? It was ABBA.
Yes, what song?
Dancing Queen.
I love ABBA.
No, it wasn't Dancing Queen. It was
Was it SOS?
no, that
Oh,
SOS
They've
is
got so
something.
many,
They have a
bangers.
lot of them, a lot of good hits. It was Dancing Queen. Damn, you put that in my head now. That's all I can think of.
Money,
Chance
money,
on Me?
money.
Take a chance on me. Yes.
Ah,
All the oxen free. Take a chance on me. Yeah.
Wow.
tune.
So I had
What was your
disco going off
dream
my.
about? That's a weird way to wake up.
I don't even remember. Actually, I do remember. It was about I was in a forest and there were these two big, I guess they were elms, and they were super tall though, and they had their trunks were, and I've seen these in different forests I've hiked throughout the years. Their trunks were kind of hollowed out, almost concave, like a bear went in there at one point and it just grew that way. And so there were trees like that. They were almost like little dens or tents or something. You can crawl in there and be all cozy and stuff. It was kind of cool. And that's the only image I recall from that dream.
Weird.
But there were two of them. And actually, I think you were in it, JJ. You said, I like that tree there. And I said, oh, this one's my favorite. Although mine had water at the bottom.
Oh,
So if I sat in it,
tree water. That's magical
oh
stuff.
yeah. So if I sat in it, I would have got my butt all wet. But I
You're
digress.
supposed to drink it,
Yeah.
And he woke up and he peed the bed.
No.
right? With ABBA playing.
If anyone who knows ABBA listening to this, if any of them from ABBA have had paranormal experiences and want to be on our shows, contact
Yes.
us.
Take a chance on
We'll all
me.
interview you.
Yes.
You'll get like four interviews at
Yes.
once.
Take a chance on us.
Right. For sure. Oh my gosh, it's been over 2 hours.
I love
Oh,
it.
Oh,
Lordy.
wow. That went quick.
Yeah, it did.
did.
Even with the flubs.
Man.
Right?
Well, let me get out of here then. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Fantastic Five chatting about, well, we started off on through lines in our interviews and experiences and what we've been seeing more of. Then we got a little sociopolitical, and then we started talking about dreams and songs and heads and others paranormal experiences. So I know it's been a smorgasbord, as it usually is when any 2 or 3 of us get together. That's okay. As long as you had a good time, and I hope you did. My thanks to all of you for being on the show. We got to do the Fantastic Five again. Eric, we miss you.
Yeah,
And
we do. Hope you're okay, brother.
yeah, he lost his power. We hope he's okay. I think is that storm still going on back east?
Not that bad, but bad enough. Apparently, he has no power.
Unless someone hit a. Oh, they don't have a lot of above ground wiring. I digress. Okay, let's just wrap it up. Anyway, thank you very much, everyone. My name is Tim Sedano. My guests have been JJ Rose, Kat Ward, and Tommy Cullum, and Erick Szilagyi, the Fantastic Five, as we like to call ourselves.
I've named us.
Sorry, say that again.
I've named us that.
Yes,
Yes,
JJ.
you
That's
have.
JJ's fault. Blame her. So thank you very much for joining us, everyone, and we'll see you next time.
Much love to everyone.
Much love. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
If you have a paranormal experience that you would like to discuss on the show, please email us at paranormal.insight.podcast@gmail.com. That's paranormal.insight.podcast@gmail.com. Find us on Facebook and Instagram under @paranormal_insight.